Hello, Summit. Welcome back to So Simple. Here, we try to simplify sewing as much as possible. So today we're going to learn how to draft a fitted pant trouser for women. Okay, a pant trouser that fits. So we're going to be using the simplest method that I know to do this to draft it. So for this method, you don't need so much measurements. Just watch as I am doing this. Okay, so this upper part now is going to be my waist measurement, and the first measurement that I'm going to be taking from my waist is going to be my crotch measurement. So for this, you can sit on a stool to take the crotch measurement. Another way you can do this is to just divide your hip by 4. The hip I'm working with is 40 divided by 4 is going to give me 10. So I'm going to be taking that 10 from here. I'm not going to be going off. Please take note of that. I'm taking that 10 inches from here, so which is going to be my crotch. So here I'm going to come here now and then mark 10 inches for my crotch. I'll take the measurement somewhere here so that I can get a straight line. So once I do that, I'm going to mark like that. So from there now, I'll start taking my other measurements. So now to take my other measurements, this pant is going to have a band. Okay, so whatever band that you wish to work with, you have to go off by that band. So for me, I'm going to be working with a band of 1.5 inches. So you can see I'm folding my tape measure. That means that I will take my measurement from this 1.5 inches. So I'll start taking the vertical measurement. So for my hip to waist is 8.5. So I'm going to mark 8.5 inches here. For my waist to knee is 22. I'll mark 22 here. And then from my waist to the leg, that's the hem, is 39. So I'll mark 39 here. So I'll come to another side and do the same thing so that I can have a straight line. Still going up by 1.5 inches. I'm going to mark from my waist to knee, from my waist to hem, and then from my waist to hip. So once all of this is done, I'm going to grab my straight ruler and then I'll connect the lines together to form a straight line. Okay, so now that we have done this, the next thing is to take my round hip measurement divided by 4. The round hip is 40, divided by 4 is 10. So I'm going to add half an inch for ease, and that's going to leave me with 10.5. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this 10.5. I'm not adding seam allowance to the front. I'll add all the allowance at the back. So I'll mark the 10.5 on the crotch. I'll mark it on the hip line, and then I'll do the same thing on the waistline. Then I'm going to take my straight ruler again and then make this into a straight line. Okay, so once this is done, I'm going to take my waist measurement here on the waistline. So the waist I'm working with is 30, divided by 4 is 7.5. So again, I'm going to add half an inch to that 7.5, and I'm going to have 8 inches. So now that measurement, I'm going to take it from that center line, not from here. So from that center line, I'm going to mark 8 inches outwards like this. And then you will clearly see that we are forming our hip shape already. So if you like to add that to yours, then you're going to add your dart allowance to this. I don't like to add that to my front pants. I just step it down here. So if you add that to yours, so you please add your dart allowance to that before you connect. But because I'm not adding that to this, I'm just going to go ahead now and connect it to my hip line. You can see what I have there. So the next thing now is to work on our crotch curve. So for that, I'm going to be extending this crotch line. Okay, and then I'm going to take my round thigh measurement. That's the fullest part of your thigh. For me, that is 26. So that 26 now, I'm going to divide it into 2. So from here now, you will notice that we'll start dividing our measurements into 2 because the legs are now separate. When we were doing the waist, we divided into 4. When we're doing the hip, we divided into 4 because the body is joined together. But from here, you have your legs separate, so all those measurements now will be dividing into 2. So 26 divided by 2 is 13. I'm going to add half an inch, and that's going to give me 13.5. So I'll come here now and mark the 13.5 here. So I'm going to further extend this line so that it takes 13.5 into consideration. So the next thing is to create our crotch cuff. So to do that, I'm going to sort of divide this line into two, and for me to be able to perfectly divide it, I have this cuff. You can see this ruler here. So this center line that we have from this V shape, I'm going to place in the center line on this crotch line. So once you place it like that, you clearly see where this is. Okay, to divide this line into two for you, and then I'm going to connect. So once I connect like this, at that center point, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. Okay, so if you don't have this ruler, another thing you can do is to come here, mark 1 inch, come here, mark 1 inch, and then connect. But I prefer to use this method. So once I have connected like that, I'm going to take my curved ruler and draw my crotch curve. So you can do this in bits if your ruler cannot take it all at once. And if you don't have a curved ruler, you can also manage to use your free hand. So you can see I did this side first. Now I'm going to take my ruler again and then find a way to make sure that I don't have anything packing, and then I'll go ahead and connect. So this is my crotch cuff. So now we are working with a pencil trouser, a fitted pencil trouser. So because of that, we will need our gaiter line. If you are working with a palazzo, you can just take it straight down, but this is a fitted pant. So to get our gaiter line, you're going to come to your tie, which is on your crotch line here, and then you mark what you have. In this case, this is 13.5. You're going to divide the 13.5 into two, and then you're going to mark that all to the hem. So here I'll mark 13.5 here, divided by 2. I'll do that here as well, and then I'm going to do that on the hem as well. So I'll take my ruler now and then connect from here all the way to the hem. So you will notice that I am not connecting this to my waist measurements. Like I said, I'm not going to be adding a dart to mine. If you want to add that to yours, you can just take this down so that you can take your dart measurement here. I hope you understand that. But this does not have a dart for me, so I'm just going to stop the marking here. So now once you have this, the next thing now is to start taking your circumference measurements for your knee and your hem. So for my round knee, then my circumference measurement is 18 inches. So when you want to take your round knee measurement, please fold your leg, okay, so that the person will be comfortable when they are wearing the trouser and they want to fold the leg. If you don't know how to measure a trouser, please let me know in the comment section if you like a tutorial on how to take your trouser measurement. Then I'm going to film a tutorial on that. So for me, that is 18 inches. Remember that I said from here you divide into two. So if you divide 18 into two, you have 9. So that 9, we are going to be sharing it into two. That's why we have this gaiter line. So we are not going to be taking the 9 from one side. We are going to share it between these two lines. So that 9 inches. So if you divide 9 by 2, you're going to have 4.5. So what I'm going to do now is to mark 4.5 here, and then mark 4.5 here. So all together I'll have 9 inches. So we'll go over to the hem as well. Or the hem, you are going to divide your hem into two. The hem I'm working with is 14, divided by 2 is 7. So that 7, we are going to be sharing it into two again. So for this, I'll have 3.5 on this side and 3.5 on this side. So all together I'll have my 7 inches. Okay, so this is a pencil trouser. Like I said, for my hem to be penciled from this line here, which is the hem line, I like to come up by 5 inches here, and then the 5 inches that I come up by, I'm going to repeat my hem line measurement circumference, which is 3.5, 3.5, to make 7 inches here. So that way this place from here is going to be straight down. I hope you understand why we did that. So the next thing is to go ahead and connect all of this together. So I'm going to start by connecting the hem like this, and then I'm going to bring my pant cuff and then connect from my crotch to my knee like this, and then from the knee I'm going to connect to the leg like this. Okay, you can see what we have. So you come over to this side as well. From your crotch line here, you're going to connect to your leg. Okay, so I'm trying to find a really nice connection from there. Okay, sorry. Okay, so you can see. So from there now I'm going to go ahead and connect to the leg as well. So this is what my pattern looks like. You can see how beautiful this pattern is looking. So the last thing I'm going to be doing for this front, remember I said I'm not using that for it. So for feet, I'm going to come to the center part here in front, and then I'm going to bring it up by 1 inch from the waistline. So I'm going to take my ruler, and then I'm going to connect that back to the side, just like this. So this is what I'm going to be doing, and then I'm going to write this as my front pattern, and then you're going to cut two of this. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this out, and then we'll use this to cut the back. Okay, so now we have gone ahead to cut it. You can see. So to cut the back, I'm going to simply bring my paper and then place the front on the back. So this is what we'll have. I'm just going to place the front on the back like this, and then you're going to be extending it on the side. So you can go ahead and tape this part down with your masking tape so that it doesn't shift, or you hold with your pin. So for the back, I have gone ahead to pin it down. You can see. So we're just going to be doing a little bit of extension here. So on the crotch line here, I'm going to be extending it. Okay, and then over there I will mark extra 2 inches. Okay, so from where the front stop, I'm going to mark 2 inches. So here at this crotch curve area as well, I'm going to come out here by 1.5 inches, following that angle that we created. So I have 1.5 inches here, and then here on the waistline here, I'm going to be coming out towards here by 1 or 1.5 inches. I don't want it to be too much. So if I measure, if I'm done with, remember I said I don't add that to my front measurement. So for the back, if I'm done sewing and I measure it and I have excess, I can use that excess as that for the back. I hope you understand that. So I'm just going to be extending this by 1.5. So now for me to be able to do my bum rise, I want to maintain the straight line that I have here. So for the bum rise, depending on how big the person is on the butt area, from where you step it down here, you can come up by 1.5 or 2 inches if the person is have a big bum. But for me, I'm just going to come up by 1.5, and that is going to be ½ inch from my natural waistline. So I'm going to be marking that here as well, and then I'm going to connect it to the side like this. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. So once you do that, the next thing to do now is to add 2 inches to the side, just like I did for the crotch. So here I'm adding 2 inches all around. With this, your pant is going to fit perfectly and still have enough allowance. Remember, we added ½ inch ease to the pattern already. So here I'm marking the 2 inches all around, and then I'm going to extend my hem to meet the new measurement that we have. So now you're going to take your cuff again and then connect like this. Yeah? You're going to connect like this. And then you just simply connect to the hem. Remember, this part is straight, so you use the straight part of your ruler. So now I'm going to connect for the crotch as well. So I'm going to take my cuff and then connect this to the waist, and then you can now reshape your curve like this, and then connect from there to your, so you can see. So this is what I have now. I'm going to grab my scissors again, and then I'll cut this out. So this is what the pattern looks like. You can see that I have trimmed off the upper part there as well. So now I'm going to take off the pins, and then you will see what the back look like and what the front look like. So this pattern does not have hem allowance yet. So if you are cutting on your fabric, you may consider adding your hem allowance to it, and then you can label this back and cut too. So if you are keeping this, you can write the size information. Maybe it's for a size 10, maybe it's for a size 12. You can write it so that when you pick up the pattern, you will easily know it. So this is what I have now, and like I said, you can cut it directly on your fabric. You can see mine. This is mine on my fabric. You can see how beautiful it is looking. So this is the front, and then this is the back. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, if you like a tutorial on how to measure your trouser, let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.